If I can please ask Jolanta Kryspin-Watson to tell us a bit more about urban flood risk management in the East Asian Pacific region in the context of the World Bank.
Thank you, and thank you, Professor Koike, for this wonderful presentation. And I think there are many common points that I also point to in my presentation. And we certainly, in the World Bank, we recognize that flood is serious developmental challenge for our client countries. And this is even in the current climate and weather conditions. Countries already have problem to address it. And most of hazards already, based on the data from last 30 years, 60% of economic losses come from disasters and related to water, including the floods. And as Professor Koike also pointed, the Asian continent, East Asia, South Asia, and also Pacific, this is the region that is most stricken by disasters and suffer the most in terms of people affected, billions of people affected, and assets. So there are two factors that contribute to the growing flood risk. First is very rapid urbanization observed in practically everywhere, but particularly in Asia. This is causing, of course, accumulation of assets, concentration of people living often in the already flood-prone areas. So we expect that this trend will continue. According to the studies we carried out, 1 billion people were added to the urban areas in growing urban centers in the last 30 years, and another billion, at least 1 billion people will live in next 30 years. And second factor, and this is exactly what Professor Koike described, is climatic changes, which contributes to the growing risk and vulnerability of the countries. And even from this map, you can see how many cities will may be affected. And this will be medium cities that are growing the fastest, but also mega cities. And Asia will have the biggest proportion of the mega cities in the world. What really concerns us is that the poor are the most affected by the floods, but also other types of disasters. This is the part of population that already lives in very precarious conditions. This is the part of population that basically with every catastrophic event loses everything and doesn't have really a net to fall into. And you see from this data, this is data on the population, proportion of the population living in slums in East Asia, ranging from 26% and 79%. And certainly there is a correlation between the population living in disaster-prone areas, in flood in this case, and the level of wealth. So the region which I represent, East Asian Pacific today, is tremendously diverse. This is the region with one of the biggest countries in the world, but also the smallest, for example, Pacific Islands. So very diverse also in terms of capacities to deal with flood risk and to tackle this developmental challenge. So our solutions are always adapted to these capacities, to demand, but within that we usually take the kind of holistic and comprehensive approach. What is presented here is 5 pillars of disaster risk management usually adopted in our projects. That include also project for flood risk management, starting from risk identification and assessment, going into very specific risk reduction investments, but also concentrating on emergency preparedness, on monitoring of risk, on forecasting, but also dealing with residual risk, having some of this risk transferred to private financial markets in the form of catastrophic insurance. And finally, when disaster happens, that's when we also help countries to recover, reconstruct after disasters, and hopefully reconstruct in a better and smarter way to reduce the risk. Looking at the World Bank portfolio of flood risk management projects, it has been steadily growing. In fact, when we look at the portfolio from 1987, the total 222 projects were in this portfolio of the value of over $13 billion, more than half through bank lending. Currently, the current portfolio includes 97 projects globally. And we see also quite a concentration in terms of volume of investments. Many of the countries you see listed here are in East Asia and South Asia: Bangladesh, China, India, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Indonesia. So that's what where we come with kind of balance. We try to strike the right balance together with our client countries between those hard engineered measures. More and more recently, also countries look into the kind of more innovative or nature-based or green infrastructure solutions. However, due to this high level uncertainty when it comes to the client, we have to also take into account that the systems might fail, the engineering solutions might fail. So we look into the kind of low regret or no regret options, and this mostly concentrate on preparedness, on information, on forecasting, and land use planning. Here I would like to give just a few examples of our of interventions supported by the World Bank. In this case, in Metro Manila, JICA has been supporting also the project in Metro Manila. This is where we helped developed master plan for flood risk reduction. It's a long-term vision for the next 20 or 25 years in the volume of $8 billion of investments. And again, even from here, you see kind of mix of structural measures, non-structural, and some social solutions, particularly leading to the resettlement, moving people from those dangerous zones, but also upgrading their conditions of living. So where it all starts is with risk assessment and assessment of impact, whether through modeling, some very complex modeling for the purpose of design, but sometimes we support also kind of community involvement and community mapping for preparedness, for prioritization of investments. one of the examples for Jakarta. This is the kind of open source map, which now for multi-hazard, so it's not only for floods, being now also implemented in other parts of Indonesia. And here I mentioned that due to the climate uncertainties, we look into options that are kind of low regret or no regret. One of them is, of course, early warning and what we call hydrometeorological services. According to our studies, the economic benefit of investment of $1 in hydromet services brings benefit of 4 up to even $36. So really very high cost-benefit ratio of those investments. Another great opportunity really to reduce floods and other disasters are the programs that we support on upgrading, urban upgrading. Here you see example from Ho Chi Minh City, but there are others as well. So the reason why we are here today, we brought our clients, and we are very grateful to government of Japan, to MLIT, to JICA, and for their support. And I wanted to share with you a few takeaways that we heard from our clients coming from this event. I think everybody was really impressed by Japan and the solutions adopted by Japan to reduce flood risk. Few things that were pointed out, that were discussed, were the institutional and legal framework in Japan that has been evolving over the years and very clear, comparing to many countries, certainly very clear definition of responsibilities and authority for flood risk management, and kind of coordination and system approach. Again, also very precise integration of land use planning with risk reduction investments, and certainly technical excellence, but also what is often lacking in developing countries, really not taking into account future costs and needs for operation and management. We so very meticulously upgraded, but also maintained investments and equipment. Another aspect is taking into account multiple hazards, and many of our client countries are prone to variety of disasters. So it's not only flood, but also earthquake and landslide. We see how that the work on a retrofitting of flood risk investments, embankments and pump stations, that was very impressive, but also kind of continuous upgrading based on the current knowledge of those hazards, continuous upgrading and improvement of those solutions. I mentioned this event was organized by DRM Hub together with TDLC under kind of auspices of Urban Flood Community of Practice, recently established in the bank, that brings together not only bank experts but also our clients and other institutions, and this has been tremendously useful the last few days, and we hope to continue learning from Japan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jolanta. And I mean, I just can't emphasize how much the support of the government of Japan made this possible. Working so closely with so many different partners, but again, it was absolutely wonderful to see. And sort of pointing to Yolanta's point on the interaction that happened among the clients and among our what we call in our own bank language, TTLs, the task team leaders and the task teams that work with our clients to try to develop the investment projects that are able to make both the structural and the non-structural measures and other parts of the flood risk management approach that's so important for their improvement to be able to reduce and manage these risks appropriately. Was the engagement among them, and also with so many of the the partners who were able to join us during the event.